I have a little side tangent before I get into what I actually want to say, but I accidentally killed a wasp with my bare hands this morning, and I would just like to say many sorries. But I woke up this morning, and I don't know how this wasp got in my home, because I just woke up. So the only time it would have been in my home is like from the night prior when I got home, but I don't know how it got inside. But I just know I was getting up in the dark, walking around, trying to go and get a cup of coffee, and I see this thing like fly in front of my face, and instinctually, I just like smack it against a wall. I don't know how I captured this thing out of the air in my palm and slammed it against to the wall because I was tired and scared, and that's what one does when they are tired and scared and see something peculiar fly in front of their face. And so I kill this thing, and then I realize what I've done, and I'm like, let me turn on the lights to understand exactly what happened, because I thought it was a spider, and I'm very afraid of spiders. I got crazy arachnophobia, so I was like, if that's a spider that I just killed, I'm gonna scream right now. I'm gonna scream that a spider just touched my skin. And then I look down and I realize it's a wasp, and I go through about 14 different emotions because I'm like, how did you get in here? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Cotton Eye Joe, who the fuck are you? And I'm freaking out. And then I look at my hands and I realize I'm completely fine. Like, everything's okay. I haven't been stung. Everything's fine. But that was a jarring start to my morning. Puzzle me confused, right? Oh, but what I actually want to talk about is just reflection. I really want to talk about reflection and how many layers of the self get beaten down when you're doing something that's difficult for you. So the semester at school is ending right now, and I only took one psychology course this semester to see if I liked it, to see if I could manage it while also working my job as a waitress, while also like training and running and everything. And I liked it. I really liked it. The problem is that when I started this course and continually throughout the course, I decided to be a little bitch. And what I mean by that is I'm not even going to give myself love here. I'm only going to give myself tough love here. Is that I would freak out about my assignments. I would freak out about when they were due. I would freak out about, oh my God, how am I going to do this? There's so much reading I have to do. How am I going to do this? And I'd freak out. And then that would lead me to procrastinate. And that would lead me to overthink. And that would lead me to just not get my work done. And eventually I got out of that cycle of like freaking out and overthinking and procrastinating and not doing it and like manifesting my own destiny there by freaking out about completing the assignments and then turning into not completing the assignments and then turning into almost not turning in the assignments. But it made me realize like how much self-doubt I actually have and how much I had to come face to face with that during this course. Because I truly think that when we do things that are difficult for us, and this isn't just me saying this is actual science. When you do something that is difficult for you, you reroute the neural pathways in your brain. Like when you do something that your brain and body screams at you that you can't do, and then you go and do it, your brain now has to start believing in you because you've literally done what it said was impossible. That's why I'm always a big believer in doing things that are hard for you, because it quite literally changes the fabric of your brain into believing that you are a person that your brain can trust, into believing you are a person that can do hard things, into a person that doesn't have any self-doubt and is confident. The thing about me is I have always been academically gifted. I got straight A's throughout school. There is nothing to prove, and there is no evidence to suggest that I would ever fail this course. There's nothing. So why is it that for however many weeks long this course was, it was from September 22nd and it's going to end on December 13th, all the way through, why that whole time did I believe I was going to get an F on this course? Why? Why was that the only thing I was thinking about? Every time I did an assignment, every time I sat down to read that chapter, only thing on my mind was, you are going to fucking fail, Bailey. And so it wasn't just that I was procrastinating or I was having anxiety. It was that my brain was conflicting with actual reality, because in reality, I got like 100% on almost every single one of my homework assignments. I got A's on every single one of my quizzes and tests. I aced that shit. I fucking aced that shit. And the thing is that I kept questioning it. I kept questioning, like, are you actually going to do that? Because I don't think you can, Bailey. I think that you're going to fail this. I think you're not going to submit your assignments on time. I think you're going to fail. And that's what my brain kept telling me over and over and over. But week after week after week, I consistently turned things in ahead of time. I consistently got hundreds. I consistently succeeded at doing everything that was required of me and above, while working my job as a waitress, while still putting out YouTube videos, while I got back into running, which I'll explain that in a moment also, because last time you knew me about running, you heard that I stopped. And the reason that I started again is the exact same reflection that I'm having on this psychology course that I just did. Probably like, Bailey, it's just one psychology course. It's a psychology course on top of having to take care of myself and manage my chronic illness, on top of other outside projects that I'm doing, on top of YouTube, on top of my job as a waitress. I am busy, okay? It's not just like I'm sitting around 24/7 in my apartment. I do not have a lot of time, and the time I do have was on school, and that was it. And I managed, I survived, I passed, but it made me realize how much my emotions are in the driver's seat, how much my self-doubt is in the driver's seat, how much my excuses are driving my life, because I would sit down to study and I'm like, no, we shouldn't do this right now. Like, I don't want to. And one of the days I sat down and I was like, well, why don't you want to? And the immediate next thought that came up was, you're not worth success. You're not worth studying, because if you study, you're going to succeed and you don't deserve success. It's that whole, like, you self-sabotage because you don't think you deserve to be good. You don't think you deserve greatness, while simultaneously wanting it. The brain's a very weird creature. I wish I could just, take it out and wring it out like a sponge and then put it back in there, but that's not how it works. And I got really sidetracked also because I'm like, am I going down the right path? Should I be going down the right path? I started getting anxiety about the idea of even going to college. Like, am I wasting my money? Should I be saving my money? Should I, is it even worth it? Should I even be doing it? Stupidly, in October, when I was still having all of these feelings and all of this freak out, you were supposed to sign up for classes next semester in October. And my stupid ass was like, no, this is too rough. Like, this is too much. I can't handle this. Like, I'm going to fail this course. And I don't even want to sign up for courses next semester because, like, oh my God, I'm going to fail. And now it's the end of the semester. I've succeeded. I did everything that was asked and more. I did great. Everything was wonderful. I killed a wasp with my bare hand this morning. No fear. I'm fine, right? And everything's fine. And I'm like, who was the dumbass bitch that decided that we couldn't do this? Who was the person that set my limits? Who was the person that decided that we don't want to do the work required of us to get to where we want to be? The anxious version of myself said that. The emotional version of myself said that. The procrastinating version of myself said that. And I want, especially for this next year, but all of December and through into the next year, I don't want to react to life from my emotions. Whether that means I want to be more stoic about the way I exist, or that means I want to be more committed to my cause no matter what. Whatever that looks like. I don't want to be driven by my emotions and my excuses anymore. I want to be driven by my dedication and my motivation, no matter what. And I will give myself tough love. I will call myself a little bitch. I will be tough on myself, because I know for a fact if I get through the hard work, the version of me on the other side would laugh at who I started as. Does that make sense? Like, I remember when I first started this course, I literally almost dropped out the first week. I was like, haha, never mind. Like, I don't want to do this. Why? What else do you have to do, Bailey? Like, what else is there in your life that's so important that you can't care about your education, especially as someone who is privileged enough to even get an education? Do you know how many women would kill to be in my position? Do you know how many women would kill to get the chance to get an education, and you're over here being like, oh, haha, it's too much work. I just want to go watch a movie. You are such a loser, Bailey. And I look at that and I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And it just comes back to this idea that, like, I think I don't deserve success, which is like the lamest excuse in the book, because it's like, can you shut up and just do your work already? And I feel like this angry version of myself is progressing. And I feel like there's this angry version of myself that's coming out to the surface that's like, stop this, Bailey. You know what you have to do to get ahead. You know what you have to do to get after the things that you want in this life. You know what you have to do. You just have to literally pull your head out of your ass. Stop functioning on your emotions. Stop waiting for things to feel right and work when you feel horrible. Work when it feels hard. Stop giving up when it feels hard and just keep going. And that's where I'm at with myself. I started running again, and it's been hard, and it's been difficult, and it's been hurting. But by the end of the day, I lie down in bed and I actually can sleep. I actually feel rested. And I feel rested because I feel like I have done the work I needed to for the day. But it's funny because when I lie around and I'm lazy and I don't do what I said I was going to do, and I don't go after the things I said I was wanting to do, I sleep like shit. Because there's whatever you don't deal with in reality, whatever you don't deal with when you're awake, becomes a part of your subconscious, and it will keep you up at night. When I'm the laziest, that's when I have the worst nightmares. When I am lazy, that's when I can't sleep. But when I work really hard and I stay dedicated to what I said I was going to do, and I go down the path a little bit further towards the things that I want, that's when I feel good. And that's the best way to describe it. Like, I'm very, very upset at myself for allowing emotions to dictate a lot of what I did this year. Because I watched, and like I said, I did a lot of reflection, and I watched my old video from like a year ago where I talked about like, oh, these are my resolutions for this year. I didn't do a single fucking one of them. And that's making me mad, because that means I'm not being a participant of my life, I'm being an active observer. And I never wanted to be someone who just observes their life. I want to be someone who is a participant, who steps up to the plate, who continues forward no matter what, who doesn't just watch the days go by. And I feel like today I woke up because I finished up my final essay. I'm gonna submit it later today, and then I'll be done with the semester. And I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself because you know how much further I could be towards the things that I actually want in this life if I had just stayed focused, if I had just seen it through the bad moments to get to the good part, if I had just kept going and didn't let my anxiety get the better of me. And you know what? It's a process. So as much as I'm calling myself a little bitch, and as much as I'm saying that I need to keep going and that I'm lazy and I'm a loser, as much as I'm saying that, I also understand where my head was at during those moments. I understand where I was at emotionally and physically, and I understand why I made the decisions that I did in the moment. What I wish I did was take a step back, have a deep breath, and then keep going, which is what I'm glad I did with this course. I'm glad I didn't drop out of it, because it taught me that even doing the things that I really don't like, even doing the things that are difficult, even doing the things that I didn't think I could do, I'm still gonna succeed. I'm still gonna do it in the end. But the way that I lose is by being complacent and overthinking and having anxiety and getting in my head and being emotional about things that don't require emotions, and getting sidetracked and getting lost and getting scared and getting upset. And while all of that is perfectly human and it's perfectly okay to feel all of that, you should not let that dictate the show. You should not let that dictate whether you keep going or whether you do your work. Your work's gonna exist whether you wanna do it or not. It just matters if it's gonna be piled up and it's gonna be a million times worse in the future, or if you're actually gonna sit your ass down, get it done, and then continue forward. And I don't know. I feel like I need to try again, set my goals again, and be relentless about them this time. To not let emotion weigh me down, to not get sidetracked, to keep going even when it's hard, to hold myself to the promises that I said I would hold myself to, and not back down from that. I gotta keep going, even when I don't want to.